And from Allente today, we have Jonas Gustafsson that's going to talk about their journey of forming Allente. So Jonas joined Allente as CFO and head of operations when they formed the company last year as a result of the merger. Before that, he's been the CEO of Viasat. He's also been the CEO of NENT Group in Sweden, and yeah, he's essentially have a very central role in MTG and NENT since 2015. Before that, he was in management consulting, holds a Master of Science in Industrial Engineering and Management from KTH in Stockholm. So with that, I will hand over to you, Jonas.
Thanks a lot, Espen, and thanks for that introduction. The thinking, as Espen mentioned, was to talk a bit about Allente, who might be a new name to quite a few of you, and talk a bit about the journey that we've started to embark on, but also the plans that we do have ahead. So, as Espen said up front, Allente is really the result of the merger between Viasat and Canal Digital. And I think you were correctly confused talking about the 5th or the 6th May. The 5th May was actually the day when we closed the deal, whereas the 6th May, which is a year ago today, was actually day one. So today is actually our first anniversary at Allente. But I think if you just take a step back, the two companies, Viasat and Canal Digital, are probably quite known sort of consumer brands to the Nordic audience, and they've been around in the pay TV space for the last 30 years. But Allente is really sort of what came together a year ago. And just reflecting on that a year ago is quite interesting in this case, because it basically means that we've been working on Teams or working digitally, transforming and merging the company over the last year, a quite special sort of situation to be in a merger. But if I just take you through a quick sort of introduction to Allente. So we have a pan-Nordic presence. We have availability in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. The company is headquartered out of Stockholm and Oslo. So we have a sort of a two-folded setup. Offering traditional satellite TV. We offer streaming, also having a broadband TV offering in the Swedish market, and with two owners. So the company is owned through a joint venture setup from NENT Group and from Telenor. If you just look at the size of the company to put this in perspective, we do have plus 1.1 million customers across the Nordics, Norway and Sweden being the largest markets. Annual revenues in 2020 of 7 billion SEK, and profits, EBITDA in this case, of more than 1.1 billion SEK. So a quite scalable player with a quite sort of broad product proposition across the Nordics. And why did we merge? The deal between Viasat and Canal Digital, everyone who's been following the industry for the last decades have heard about the potential deal between Viasat and Canal Digital. And when I just Googled, I remember Googling a year ago, trying to just look at the history. I think the first indications and the first speculations of merging Canal Digital and Viasat actually went back to sort of late 1990s. They tried in 2002, they tried in 2005. There were rumors about the deal in 2012. There were rumors about the deal in 2015. But this time, sort of all the stars managed to be aligned, and we could find a way and a setup and a structure to make the two companies come together. And why do you merge? It's essentially three key areas that we would sort of focus on. Number one is that in a business and in a pay TV business today, it is highly competitive. So size and scale really matters. And size and scale gives us opportunities to focus, to invest, and sort of have a much more stringent approach to our efforts. The second dimension is that the merger creates substantial synergies. So this is really, to a large extent, a synergy case. We are expecting to generate more than 650 million SEK per year of profits or additional synergies. So adding a lot of profits to our business today, which allows us to invest going forward. And one of the reasons is also to the fact that collaboration will allow us to get the scale and to invest even more into the customer experiences. And it's fair to say as well that the business, or especially the satellite business that we've been running for the last decades in Canal Digital and Viasat, it's sort of a business under structural decline, right? More and more customers are moving towards streaming. More and more customers have been changing technology towards broadband TV. So creating and merging really sort of puts us in a different position. So those really the sort of the merger rationale or the reason to actually combining. If we then look back and look at the last year, we've done quite tremendous amount of work. A lot of it has been internal sort of preparations. We have set the new operating model. We've set the new organizational structure. We started to learn and pick the best. And this has been a quite fantastic opportunity because me personally, coming from the Viasat side, finally have been able to understand and have been able to have dialogues with our sort of former main competitor, Canal Digital. So it's been a lot of sort of best practice sharing in everything from how to optimize and set up the best customer service operations to how to find the best sales approach in various channels. So it's been a lot of sort of best practice sharing and learning across the last year. We've started to execute on all those synergy programs that we mentioned, started to migrate to essentially drive both the revenue synergies and the cost synergies to essentially sort of take the company to the next level. But it's also fair to say that I think even though we've been a part of Allente, and it was quite sort of, we hit the market a year ago with a decision to continue to operate with the Canal Digital brand and the Viasat brand. But over the last month, in mid-April, we also went to the market with a new brand and did our sort of massive brand launch. I've been talking a bit about synergies, and one of the key synergies is the only synergy that I actually can explain to my own mother and make her understand. We've been running a satellite business, and Canal Digital has had one satellite, and Viasat Consumer has had another satellite. Having two satellites is quite expensive. So one of the key projects that we've had, and sort of one of the main sort of lighthouse projects that we've been having, is the fact that we're migrating towards one satellite. One satellite is cheaper than two satellites, and it's essentially a massive operational undertaking. So in order to be able to only use one satellite, you basically need to turn the dish that you typically have on the roof. So we are now, as we speak, running a project called Project Dishturn, as you can see on the slide, where we essentially go out and turn 320,000 dishes across the Nordics. We're going to do that in a year, and everyone who can run the numbers realizes that on a daily basis, we're actually visiting and turning more than 1,000 dishes per day. So a big one going on now as we speak. If we then look ahead and sort of think about our priorities and where to focus, we're still in that transformation phase where we really want to sort of extract the synergies, ensure that we get the right setup for the future. We're optimizing our entire model in order to ensure that we get ready for the next step. And I say the next step because with the scale that we're currently having, with the footprint that we're currently having, and with the fact that we have 1.1 million customers, so reaching roughly 10% of all the households in the Nordics, we have great opportunities to pursue various growth opportunities. We've had a broadband business or a broadband TV business in Sweden that we're now actively looking into how we can scale into the other geographies. We're looking into new sort of more future-proof product propositions. We're looking into OTT and other alternatives. And that's really going to be the focus going forward. We're fully aware about the fact that our core business, the satellite business, it is being challenged. It is under structural decline, but we have a massive opportunity, and that opportunity is now to renew the entire sort of future of Allente. So with that said, I think it's fair to say that the sort of the traditional business over time will be gradually shifted from sort of traditional DTH and satellite towards newer product proposition. With that said, I'll try to wrap it up and hand it back to you, Espen, to also share a few questions that the audience might have.
Thanks a lot, Jonas. Thanks for sharing this. Yeah, we have a few questions here. I think first I can a question from my side. You have these two very well recognized brands, and everybody in the Nordics know about these brands. And can you explain a bit why you decided to kind of start from scratch and create a complete new brand?
It's a very good question. I think I would basically have sort of a three-folded answer. The first one is driven by the fact that, per your point, both Viasat and Canal Digital come with a very long heritage and a strong sort of brand awareness. That sort of brand awareness is typically sort of tilted towards the traditional satellite business. In order for us to renew the company going forward and also explore new opportunities, it is good to sort of have a fresh start with a new brand. So that's number one. Number two is merging two companies also is sort of a challenge from an organizational perspective, and getting everyone on board and sort of on the same deck is so much easier under one sort of brand, with one brand, one common culture, one set of priorities, and so on and so forth. And then the third one is a bit more boring, but there are certain sort of licensing related questions to the current owners. So we decided that it's much better to actually do a fresh start, and that fresh start became Allente.
Okay, thanks. Makes sense. Okay, a question here from the audience. It's a twofold question. I guess the question is, will there be like an app certification program for your set-top box? And should the TV industry focus more on apps?
So could you please repeat the first question?
If there will be like an Allente app certification program, so to get apps, third-party apps on your set-top boxes. As I understand, it was like previously Canal Digital had something like that, and Viasat had similar.
And exactly. Yes, the current boxes, or the most modern boxes that we do have, would allow for third-party apps, and we're planning to launch a new set-top box going forward, and external or third-party apps will be an essential and important component of that. And the second question is, yes, I think, I mean, if you look at, if you think about our part of the TV value chain being a distributor, I think, what's happening in the market with more and more content providers going directly to consumers, and the entire sort of emergence of more and more digital players, it is quite obvious, at least from our perspective, as a distributor, you need to take on a role being an aggregator, and being a service aggregator is definitely something that we believe is in sort of a highly attractive path, and allowing for more apps. I definitely think that's the way to go, and that is really sort of the priority and the focus going forward for Allente.
Okay, thank you, Jonas. I think that was all we have time for, but thanks a lot. And I must say, it's quite impressive what you have achieved on this short time, with a new brand launched and everything in place. So congratulations with that, and best of luck in the future.
Thanks. We look forward to year 2 as well.
Okay, we will move on to in the program now.